welcome to Country Basket Weaving. I'm your hostess, Sandy Atkinson, and we're going to be doing 13 shows for you. We're going to do 12 different baskets in this series, and we're going to do one on a special lid that I've designed. Some of the tools that you're going to need for your basket classes are a tape measure, and the cloth type works the best, a knitting needle, pencil, lots of clothespins, more than I have here, a large clamp. They'll come in handy on some of these baskets we're doing too. A flathead screwdriver, needle nose pliers, a knife, scissors. These are reed cutters, and these are an optional item you may want to invest in later. An awl, and this is a spoke weight. You're also going, I'd like to go over here and show you our board, and this is just some of the materials that we use. Keep in mind it's just some of them, it's not all of them. We use more than this. These are common sizes. You're going to need, up here we have our flats, sometimes referred to as flat flats. They're flat on both sides, ranging in 1/4 inch up to about 1 inch. Here we have a new one on the market, which is oval on both sides. Our flat ovals, flat on one side, oval on the other, 1/8 of an inch all the way up to 5/8. We use some seagrass. Here we have 3 and 1. Raffia is fun to put in your baskets. Over here we have some ash. Ash is beautiful to work with. If you're going to do some towel painting or stenciling on your baskets, you'll enjoy using our tulip poplar, which goes up to a couple inches in size. Over here we have our rounds, as tiny as 0 all the way up to 12. There are other sizes. Over here we have our caning, and caning is kind of like the Cadillac, really good for trim work. And I think that's something you may want to get into later too. When you purchase your reed, you'll be purchasing it in pounds. It'll come either in a hank like this, or it'll come in a coil. You can purchase these at your local craft stores. Simply pull from the top, one piece at a time. I know it takes time now, but it pays later. It doesn't mess up your hank here. And then you're simply going to take this long piece and you're going to coil it up. You're going to need water too, so you're going to want to get a large bucket or pail or something. Fill it about 3/4 full with warm water. You also need a towel because we're working with water. And we're going to put that to soak. Also, undo these, pull them out one at a time, coil them up, and you're going to put those to soak as you need them too. The cut material and the patterns that we'll be working on today is our footed basket. You're going to need to purchase and then cut 5/8 inch flat, 8 pieces 34 inches long, 8 pieces that are 32 inches long. You're also going to need 5/8 flat oval, and 8 pieces of the 5/8 inch flat oval need to be cut exactly 10 inches long. Put some more 5/8 flat into soak, and you're going to need some number 3 round. You'll need 4 legs, and you'll need 4mm caning. Now, to get started on this is my spoke weight. I had a librarian come in and tell me that when I was using a library book or I was using a dictionary, got rather upset with me. So we have now gone to a spoke weight. My pieces have been soaking. Reed has a right and a wrong side. The right side is smooth, the wrong side is rough. I want you to, after you get your pieces cut, line up your ends like this, draw up your center, and put a pencil mark across here. Always use pencil, never ink. I want you to do that on all your pieces, and then we're going to start laying out our pattern. On one piece, I think I have the wrong one, so let me go over here and get these. And I want you to do the same thing on these pieces. These are my 32 inch pieces. And what I want you to do is mark your center, then take your tape measure and line up from that center line over here. Whoops, I'm losing my basket. Over here, I want you to mark 5 inches on either side of your center line. Then I want you to mark a 1/2 inch line going on the inside. So this would be at 9 1/2, and this would be at 1/2 inch over here. Now we're going to take the other pieces and we're going to line up these with our center lines all lined up in the middle. I'm not going to worry about spacing now. We're going to go back and do that in just a few minutes. Remember, my wrong side is up. I'm laying out my 34-inch pieces first, underneath my spoke weight. Okay, now I'm going to come in here, and that first 32-inch piece that I marked with the 10-inch marks on it, I'm going to weave that one in first. It's going to be woven below the center line. And I know nothing is laying for you yet. So we're going to take another one of your 32-inch pieces and weave this one up here. That'll help it lay flatter for you. Line up our centers. I want 4 pieces on this side and 4 pieces on this side. Now I'm going to take a 5-inch spacer, 5/8 of an inch spacer, lay it across the middle, and draw up these lines. Make sure I have my centers lined here. Now, take your pieces that we cut. Now these have to be exactly 10 inches, measuring each one by themselves. We're going to weave this right on top of the first piece we put in. And weave your next one end over here. These marks, these ends of our 10-inch pieces need to line up right here with our outside marks. And again, we'll take our spacer and come in here and check our spacing. This piece here that's lying is going to line up here with that 1/2-inch mark, and you can barely see it, but if you can see it underneath this 10-inch piece. It's going to line up there. Then we're going to come back here and we're going to eyeball these pieces and line them up. Okay, now I'm ready to add some more. I'm going to weave in a piece here. And add our 10-inch piece. This is our flat oval. The oval side is facing up, and use our spacer to draw it in. And we're going to weave one down on this side. I'm going to weave this along real quickly so I can get them all in. And weave in our flat oval piece, working back and forth, and I'm going to move along quickly here. We need to have 4 above our center line and 4 below our center line. Line up our centers, weave in your flat oval piece. This will be my 4th one on top. I really don't need my spoke weight, so now I'm going to remove that. I'm glad I discovered the spoke weight, so as I won't be getting books wet anymore. Come in here with your spacer. These are scrap pieces. Do your spacing. Now I have 2 to weave down here. Just a basic over and under weave. And I'm going to line this one up here and go back in. These should be all lined up on the sides. And weave in my next one. It's really easier if you space each one as you go. You won't need to work as quickly as I do. Take your time and do a nice job. Get your spacing all set. It's easier if you space each piece as you do it, but for time's sake, I'm going to do it this way. But they did slide up there pretty easy. Come back here. Now we're going to just line these up. Then I want you to take 4 clothespins, kind of come in here and check your spacing before we clamp our corners. Then take 4 clothespins and clamp your corners. I want you to go back and check your spacing on this though. Don't move along quite as quickly as I am today. Now we've already put some number 3 round to soak. coming in and getting a piece of that. In order for this to bend without breaking, I need to put a crimp on it, and that's simply a squeeze with our needle nose pliers. We're going to come over here. I'm going to start on an under piece. This one weaves under, and I'm taking and I'm looping it over here. Now I'm taking the one on the left and going behind the next empty spoke. This makes this one on the left. Now I'm going to go behind that. Notice I have this space in here with my flat oval. That's where my twining is going to lay. Taking the one on the left, go behind the next empty spoke. Take off my clothespin as I come to it. There are two types of corners. One is an irregular, the other is a regular corner. If I was going to keep on going with this same pattern, this piece would simply slide under there, and that wouldn't work. So I have an irregular corner. I have to come over to the left, take the left one around first, go underneath, and bring it out. Then I simply come back and get this one and bring it over. Keep spinning your work so your work is in front of you. It's much easier to handle. As you work on the sides, because of our flat oval, I'm going to push this down. This one's an underweave. The overweaves, I have to take my thumb and push them down in order to get this to bend around that flat oval. I'd like to do one more corner for you, then I'll show you how to add a piece, and then we'll move right along here. Take off your corner. I'm coming from the left. Now again, this piece is sliding under, so I have to come back here and take my left piece around first, then come up and get my right piece. I'll weave out a few more. I'm going to cut this off and pretend like I have run out of a weaver and show you how to add a new one. Weave it out until you've run out. Take this one behind. Then come back and lift this one up, and it creates a hole. You're simply going to stick your new piece in there and continue right on weaving. We'll go back later and trim these ends off. Keep right on weaving. I want you to do a total of 3 rows around this base. And there it fell. Now I've got this base all woven. I have it upset, which means when I take it, I finish my 3 rows, it's going to be laying out flat. I simply come in here and bend up these pieces. Come in here and clamp the 4 pieces on each corner together. Hold them with a clothespin. Bend each one of these up and clamp your corners. Now we're going to go and we're going to start our rows up. I've got flat 5/8 inch flat soaking. Finding my right side, I'm going to come into the side of the basket here. I like to come back here and look at my base of my basket. This one was woven under, so I know that this one I like to be over. So I'm always going to start on top, place this piece up here, and I'm going to cheat a little bit, start it under my next one. Come in here, always starting on top of a spoke. Unclamp your corners and go around your corners. And this again is just a basic basket weave, which is over and under. Clamp your corners back together. Weave over and under. I'm coming to a corner. The first anywhere from 3 to 4 rows are going to look very sloppy. So don't be alarmed. It's just that there's nothing here to hold it all together yet. Weaving over and under. Take off my corners. Put my corners back on. That's important until we get up to that 4th row. And I'm almost back to the other side. Clamp these together. Now, if I haven't made a mistake, I will come right around here and I'll be on the exact same weaving right over the first row I put in. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. Weave right on top of it. I'm going to put my clamp back over here to hold it. Come across here, and I'm going to hide it under this one here. See how this is an over? Come in here and cut this one off. Hide it right underneath there. Now, so we don't get a buildup of each row, I'm going to turn it and start the next row on the other side. I can see that piece isn't long enough to go around. So I have another one soaking. Come in here, find my right side again, and I'm going to start it the same way, always on top. Put a clamp there to hold it. And again, we're just going to be weaving this row the very opposite of the row we just put in. We still need to leave those corners up. You can kind of see where this first row is sliding up. Just push it down as you're working that second row. And again, put our corners up. Now, this is the clothespin. I don't need this anymore. My second row is going to hold down the first row that's in there. And weave around. It's not always easy to weave a basket in the short period of time I'm allotted, so you take time with yours. Don't weave as fast as I'm weaving. I need to do this to save time. Again, I want to put my corner back on. And I'm back to where I started. I'm going to overlap 4. Overlapping 4 is kind of a rule of a thumb. Come in here and I'm going to cut this one off and hide it under that row. I'm going to put a clamp on here to hold that together. Now what I've done in this pattern is I've added some twining. So come in here. I'm going to do some blue. This is some that I've dyed up. And again, I'm going to have 2 different end lengths with a crimp in the middle, so I won't run out of reed at the same time. I'm going to go to the side this time, starting at an under, and I'm going to loop it. You won't have corners when you're weaving these rows in, because your corners are rounded. It's not like when you lay out your base. And I'm twining. Again, the left one goes around first. Always the left one going around the next empty spoke. It's going to tangle on you. Simply untangle it and weave along. I want, whoops, I've done that one wrong. Come back here. This one goes around first. We're going to do 5. You could do about up to 5 rows. You could do 3, 4, or 5 rows of this. What we're concerned about is getting a measurement of about 9 inches up here. So you can put in different patterns. Don't follow just my pattern. Do lots of different things. Be really creative. Okay, I'm going to add a new piece again to show you how, and then we'll move along. Simply pick up this piece here, add your new one in here, hold it with your finger, and keep right on weaving. Now I'd like to show you the pattern that I wove up the side over here. I've woven my twining in here and another row, and this row matches in here. Then I've taken 3 lengths of a colored, of your number 3 round, and I've braided them together. And then I've taken that braiding and I've woven in here. And again, this pattern is all the same, kind of gives it a different effect. And I want you to keep weaving. When you're about halfway up, like I am here, we're going to add our legs. And these can be purchased at any craft store in your area. You're simply going to come up here, open this spot up here on the edge. I'm right on the corner spoke, and I'm going to push this right up in here. Now you may have to play with it a little bit, opening up each spot. Pull it back a little bit if you get up there too tight. You need to push it all the way up. There we go. And then it's going to grab here, because see what I have here? I have a little ledge here, and that's going to rest on the bottom of the basket. Same thing on this side. Move it right up there. If it doesn't slide up in there easy, simply use your flathead screwdriver and push it right up. I've already added the other 2 on the other side, so it's a mirror image when you do that. Continue weaving up until you have 9 inches in here. When you have that part done, such as I have here, I want you to go and we're going to tuck all these. If a weaver comes in front of your spoke, it's going to be cut off. If it goes, the weaver goes behind, it's going to tuck in. And these two are tucks. This was a cut off one. Come into the inside. We're going to skip over our first row of weaving, lift up our second row, which happens to be twining up in here. I put in another 3 rows of twining. Lift those up and simply tuck them up in there. Do this one over here. I know this is difficult for you to see. Skip over our first row, pick up these. That happens to be a row of twining in this basket, and tuck it under there. If it's too long, simply cut it off. We don't want any great length in there. Now you're going to need your flat oval again, your 5/8 flat. Come in here. I have a long piece. If I can find my knife here. Here it is. Taking a sharp knife, we're going to come back for about 2 inches and take off some of this oval top so that it will lay next to itself when I do an overlap. Take it off with the flat side of your reed facing your basket. I like to start on this nice flat side here, on the longer side. We're just going to pin this around. You're going to need lots of clothespins. Every so far, we're just going to put in a clothespin. When I come back here, I'm simply going to overlap and come up here where I did, this is where I started my whittling, and trim this, cut that right off. Overlap it here. We need to do the very same thing on the inside. So again, we're going to whittle this down for 2 inches, starting on the opposite side and with the flat part of our reed facing the basket. We're going to work this around. Work it all the way around. I like to use caning. You'll find I use caning a lot for my lashing. That's the part we're going to start next. I have a piece of cane here, already been soaking for a while. Come up here and I'm going to put a point on it. That's so it'll travel for me easier. Coming to the inside of the basket, I have an overlap here and an overlap here. So I'm going to start over here, away from my overlaps, coming up between my spokes. Here's the top of a spoke and here's the top. I'm going to come up between there. The right side is facing the basket. Come around, and I'm going around the inside of the basket. I have a rim, basket, and a rim. Simply circle around. Then come up through here and go between your weavers, using your screwdriver if you have to. Come back to the inside and do the very same thing again, up between the rim and the basket, and down between the basket and the rim on the outside. Leave this tail right there. We'll come back later and trim it off. I'm going to make the cross on the top of each one of my spokes. So I'm going to take this length here, and I know these are long lengths to work with, but in order to get around the basket and back around, we need a long length. Put a point on it. Again, I'm coming between my weavers, opening it up here, between my weavers, and give it a pull. Now, so I don't have to go through that straightening out process each time, I'm going to start this end again, one over, then come back and pull this length here. And we're going to pull it. You want to make sure these are pulled nice and tight to hold this rim in. What I like to do up here too, before I go on, is put in a decorative piece of reed up in here so it covers up all these spokes. Loosen this up a little bit. Again, I've taken my braided piece of my blue. I'm going to lay this piece in here and twine with it going around. You can keep moving this piece with you. Use your clothespins to hold it out of the way. Make sure it's long enough to go all the way around. Come back and get this piece. Open this up. Start it here. Then come back and draw this one tight again. It's tangling around my leg down here. There we go. Keep pulling these real tight and work this around. I've already done that part here. Because I'm doing double lashing, it means I'm going to go all the way around once and then come and double back. Here I've gone into my last one here. Now I'm going to bring this and I'm going to make my X on top of the basket. See my decorative braid I put in here. Finding my end, I'm going to go back in the same hole that I was in before, but now I'm going the reverse way. Pull this tight. If that won't stay tight for you, simply put a clothespin up there. And again, I'm going to go back. It's much easier when you're doubling back. You've already been through that hole once, so it's much easier to double back. Keep working this all the way around. I'm going to do a couple more and show you how to end it. I'm not going to take mine all the way around for time's sake, so I'm just going to end it here for you, and then I'll go back later and finish it. I'm right on the corner here, so let me get around one more. See how easy this is going in the second time around? Now, let's pretend I've been all the way around the basket, and I'm ready to end it. We're going to end it the very same way you started it. Make sure these are pulled tight. I'm going to come up here with my length from the inside. Now I will need my screwdriver here. Come in here and open this up. I'm going between the rim and the basket. And I'm going to pull that up tight. Okay, now I have to get this decorative trim out of the way because I need to be underneath of it so it doesn't show my work on top. So I'm going to just see how I put my screwdriver under there to open that up and slide it to the outside. Pull it through. Get any twist out of it. I have a twist in it. Okay. Then come down here and open this up on the outside. And it is tight in here. But that's the way you really want it. You want it to be tight. Push it down to the outside. Go back in through the middle, up and around again. Pull this down tight, and then cut off your little tails that'll be on the outside here. The basket we'll be working on next time is our feather basket, which is this one here. Has some history behind it. I think you'll enjoy working on the feather basket. We'll look forward to seeing you next week. I hope you've enjoyed class.